Kicking us off in the NFC East, Deshaun. I'm going to give the people a little recap here. Last year, Philly won the division, 14-3. Then the Commanders at 12-5. Dallas at 7-10. The Giants at 3-14. Who do you have winning this division this year?
Yeah, I think it's probably a no-brainer. It's going to be the Eagles again. Now, I have family that resides in Philadelphia, so that's where a majority of my dad's side of like the family is. So when I was 16, I got the opportunity like to go watch, well, not watch like a game out there, but I got to like watch Philadelphia play like at like one of like my uncle's houses, and one of the most intense environments, one of the most loud, ignorant, and I hated it. I hate every Philly fan, and I hate that I'm saying that they are going to win, but they just have such a loaded roster, offense, defense, special teams, and then you compound that with the fact that everyone else in their division seems to be not wanting like to win. You got Dallas letting up Micah go. You got Washington basically like fighting their wide receiver one, though they did finally go and pay him. And then like the Giants are just maybe one or two moves away from really being a powerhouse. So I think it's Philadelphia, and I don't really think there's much debate there.
Yeah, unfortunately, they are the best team in the league, and no matter how rowdy their fans can get, I thought they were bearable, honestly, when they weren't winning. But the second that they did start winning, it started getting real bad.
It's cranked up.
I like Jalen Hurts. He's a guy that I like to root for, and I feel like you would root for him too, Deshaun, but I feel like the fan base, they just project him in this insane way, and that's what makes people turn on these Philly players. The fan base, I give credit to them. They're incredible and passionate, but I think there's a fine line between passion and insanity, and sometimes that bleeds through in Philly.
And I think what's so interesting is that all of the key players on the Eagles it could not be further from what you would think of a Philadelphia Eagle. All of them are so reserved and humble and quiet. Like Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts. Like I love all of those guys individually as players, but I have to hate them. Like I have become a Jalen Hurts hater because of the fans.
You know what? And I don't even blame you. I still try to give him his praise when I can, but it gets out of control, right? But at the end of the day, Philly is the best team in the league by far. Absolutely. I don't even think, you watch what they did to Kansas City last year in the Super Bowl, one of the most dominant Super Bowl performances we've seen. Philly is the team to beat this year until proven otherwise. Now, they do have a few question marks around that team. Second-string cornerback, whoever they got there, that's going to be an issue. They got to figure that out, whether it's going to be Keely Ringo. They're rotating a few guys there. And they got a new offensive coordinator in-house, Kevin Patullo. Again, I think Jalen Hurts is fifth offensive coordinator, which is insane to think about, but that just shows you the success that Philly has had. And I feel like the OCs there, they get rotated in because the teams are so good. Maybe they're projected as a little bit better than they actually are, or they're great offensive minds. I don't know. Like Kellen Moore got a head coaching job in New Orleans now.
Anytime you can hand the ball, like if as an offensive coordinator you have one of two options, you either hand the ball off to Saquon Barkley or throw the ball to AJ Brown. You're probably going to have a successful offense.
I'm saying it's hard. It's really hard to screw that up. So you look at Philly now; they got the most talented offense in the league. The offensive line is the best unit in the NFL, and the defense is still up there as a top 5 unit. So anyone saying that there's no chance of a back-to-back or of a repeat, I just don't believe you. I think that they're standout the best team in the league, and after week 4 or 5 last year, I want to say, they were unbelievable. Like, if they played like that from week 1, there's a legit chance Philly could have gone 17-0 just because of the firepower that they have. And Jalen Hurts has a bad day, no problem. You just turn it over to Saquon Barkley, right? Or vice versa with the passing game.
Exactly.
I was talking to some people too, and it's like you choose your poison with Philly. You either load the box, stop Saquon Barkley, which opens up passing lanes for Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown, all the ballers they got there, or you flood back the secondary, And then the box is
And
light for
Saquon,
Saquon
yeah,
Barkley, and he's going
which
for
carves you up.
150 on your team, right? So,
Exactly.
really the best offense in football right now. Philly is the team to beat. Anyone out of the NFC East you have going into a wild card seed come January, Deshaun?
I do, and it's again hard for me to say because I hate this franchise, but I have the Giants.
Wow.
I really feel like the Giants, and we've said this before off camera, but I really feel like the Giants are like the Steelers of the NFC. They're always, and maybe not in the most recent years, but they always have like a respectable defense, and then it's been like lately they just been kind of like off and on at quarterback and off and on offense. But I like what they have on offense this year. You have a solid ground game. You have what I believe to be at least a top 17 quarterback. If he plays well, I could realistically see him being like within that like 12 to 15 range in Russell Wilson. And then you have Malik Neighbors. I genuinely believe that Malik Neighbors, if healthy, if he can finish this season healthy, he will be a top 5 receiver. I think that he is a bona fide stud. And I like their defense. And their defense is the main reason why I have them sneaking in, is because that front seven, talk about pick your poison. All of those guys are elite pass rushers. I am still dumbfounded how they were able to get all of them on like the same team. But I really like what they have done on like the defensive side of the ball, and I think their offense will be just good enough to make it work. And I don't think they'll do anything in the playoffs, but I think the recent stretch that the Giants have had, I think making the playoffs will be a good step in the right direction.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with your takes on the team. Like, I'm really high on the Giants, too. Like you said, that front seven, Sexy Dexy, Abdul Carter, Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, like, they're stacked, and they're going to get to the quarterback, no question. Now, the offense, of course, you don't know what Russell Wilson's going to be. You kind of have an idea based off what we saw last year in Pittsburgh. I mean, obviously, he's not going to be the Russell Wilson of old, but he could still be productive. And Jackson Dart had a really good showing in the preseason, so that's obviously encouraging. And like I said prior on the podcast, I agree with you about Malik Neighbors, too. Absolute dog, super, super overlooked when you're talking about the top receivers in the league. However, I don't have the Giants in the playoffs. I'm shocked that you don't have the Commanders in the playoffs, Deshaun. I'm going to need to hear your take, just basically why you're missing out on this team. I understand, Jaden Daniels did have quite the rookie season, and if you expect a sophomore slump, that's fine. Maybe a drop-off for year 2, just like C.J. Stroud had. But honestly, I just don't see it happening. The Commanders were a great team last year. Now, the defense, it's hard to look at it and be excited about it for sure. They're probably a bottom 15, bottom 18 defense in the league. It's not incredible, but I think it will do enough to get them in the playoffs, at least. I mean, Jaden Daniels last year, 3,500 yards, 25 touchdowns, 69% completion percentage. You get a year 2 Jaden Daniels now with Terry McLaurin on his new contract. You bring in Debo, who, he wasn't all that in San Francisco, and I don't expect it to be incredible in Washington, but at least it's something. When they bring in Laramie Tunsil, they're helping out with the offensive line. I mean, I don't think they're close to Philly. Like, the Commanders are far from what Philly is right now. The defense, it's brutal against the run. Saquon Barkley averaged 138 yards per game in 3 games against the Commanders last year. They're just not winning a Super Bowl with that. It was a really lucky jump to the conference championship last year. I'll give you that, Deshaun, if you're going to make that argument, which I'm sure you will bring that up. But I still do think that they're talented enough to go 10-7 and sneak in the playoffs.
See, I feel like every year, and this will lead into what we talk about when we talk about like the AFC, but I think every year there is a team that is able to catch lightning in like a bottle, and they're able to just have everything line up perfectly. And that's what happened with Washington. They were able to win a lot of close games that maybe one play goes the other way, they lose that game. And they were able to win a lot of close games, and they were able to go and dismantle Detroit for a lot of the season. A lot of people had Super Bowl expectations for. I just don't think that's sustainable. I also don't think it's sustainable to expect your first year, well, no, now your second year quarterback to duplicate or, if not, succeed what he did his rookie year. I do like Terry McLaurin, but I'm not sold on Debo. He does have a chip on his shoulder, no pun intended. But I really don't think that they have enough firepower to overcome what that defense is doing, because that defense is horrible. And what essentially what you are trying to do is say, Jaden Daniels, you need to propel this team to the playoffs on offensive alone. And we've seen far more talented offenses, a la the Bengals, not be able to do that. So now it's a lot harder when now you are now placing that onus on a second-year quarterback and a receiver one that's not Jamar Chase, and a receiver two that's not T. Higgins. So I just do not believe that they're going to be able to catch lightning in a bottle for 2 years in a row.
That's fine. I don't. I mean, I'm sure we'll have bigger things that we disagree on. If the Giants made the playoffs and the Commanders fell out, I wouldn't be shocked. Again, the defense is brutal in Washington, like I said, and you are resting a lot of it on Jaden Daniels and his success this year. So we'll have to see how that works out. But again, we have differing opinions on Jaden Daniels as well when we're talking about sophomore quarterbacks, which we can get in on at a later date, of course.